It's the new thing that's sweeping the land when you don't know which way to go. The answer is Jesus and Elevation Radio.
God bless you. All praises and honor go to God, for He's the only one that counts. This is Elevation Radio 1. I'm your host, Pastor Steve, the Music Man Tenor, and we're glad you take the journey with us today. This is the program that spotlights positive people doing positive work while serving a positive God. We're not talking about the lowercase g, we're talking about the higher case g, because there's only one God. Elohim, Adonai, Jehovah. Yeah, Jehovah Teskenu, Jehovah Rapha. Yeah. And so if you don't like that, as I always say, turn it down. It's going to be all right because God's going to protect us. Listen, we give a shout out to our sponsor, and that's G-O-D, baby. G-O-D. Yeah. He's the one that's sponsoring this program. If you had your way, you probably wouldn't have us on. But G-O-D says, stay on and speak about me. That's what we're doing today. If you have an opinion, call it 1-914-205-5353. That's 1-914-205-5353. You ought to be bold. You ought to be brave enough to talk about God. You ought to be brave enough to talk about Jesus, the Christ, the Christos, the Adonai. Yeah. And so scripture that's on my mind right now is Philippians 4:11. I can, somebody say it with me, I can do all things through Christ that strengtheneth me. Yeah, and I've had a tough week, but God has strengthened me. Has He done the same for you? If He's done the same for you, then you are qualified to call in this program at 1-914-205-5353. We have a special guest that we're putting the spotlight on again. She is one of Baltimore's best advocates. We have unique advocates who are brave and fearless. Hence the title of this program, Warriors for Justice. Warriors for Justice is our topic today, and it's standing up against the institutional racism, which is preeminent here in Baltimore. And so we're looking forward to getting a call from the Warrior Queen. That's what we've called her, the Warrior Queen. That is Miss Tawanda Jones. Yes, I said it. Miss Tawanda Jones is going to be coming on this program, scheduled to come on today. She'll be calling in at 1-914-205-5353. Let me recap something about Professor Jones. She is a sister of a murdered sibling, Tyrone West. Was murdered by numerous cops in the Northern District. Choked him out and pounded on his chest until he allegedly had a heart attack and killed him on the street in front of the community and the neighbors. And the only problem is that those folk would have gone away and just kind of, went south and said it's okay. You can't fight the Goliath. But this family, the West family, is not normal in terms of they're warriors. They do not play games. And so for over 300 weeks, they have held street outreach and street ministry to proclaim that they're seeking justice for the death of their loved one against the police department that actually was not in trouble with the DOJ prior to this scenario, but because of this scenario and others are now under the auspices of the federal government and the federal judge looking into their poor behavior and mistreatment of the black citizens of Baltimore. Documented so much so that it's causing them to be under federal review. And if they are not careful, they will find themselves under federal receivership with the ultimate response of possibly firing every high executive and several of the middle executives down to the bottom and cleaning house, which is probably what's needed anyway, because this institutional racism has been going on so long. You know, Maryland is the birthplace of racism in America. It was documented by Alex Haley when his forefathers came into the United States of America, that they ported into the port of Annapolis. Many of our surrounding counties, Carroll County and some other, Calvert County, were actually people, lords, who were slave owners. And I understand that there is slavery everywhere in America, but they kind of invented it here. They perfected the kinks and worked it out here in the Maryland area. I should say they have PhDs in racism here, and it's in every institution the sun in this area, this metropolis, and that includes the medical field, includes health, with the number one employer is Johns Hopkins, loaded with racist executives. As a matter of fact, man, I'm telling you, you can go from one end to the other, and you will find basically folks who just don't like to deal with the 95% population of black folk in Baltimore. And one of the characteristics of racism, which are prevalent while I'm waiting for this special celebrity to call in, is that they would have a black person, a black manager, supervisor. We have black Oreo cookie kind of politicians. And I'm not afraid to name them. Jack Young, mayor, shouldn't be mayor, didn't want to be mayor, and should sit down and let somebody else do it. If you don't want to do it, then step aside. We've got enough qualified candidates here who love the people to do it. And so if your heart's not in it, then just go somewhere and sit down. Yeah. We have city council who rubber stamp major developers' desires to just basically rape our city and take money, which you claim you never have. You're always poor and broke. But they are always able to get developer money to build tourist attractions because they think that's what's most important. The Bible said that charity begins at home and then spreads abroad. Yes, indeed. And so you need to take care of your folk at home first before you start trying to attract tourists and other folks, because what are you bringing them into? Well, it's been highly documented that Maryland, especially Baltimore, is a city unlike any other. It's like a third world nation. There's some parts of it that look like Somalia. And so, they're good enough to have horse races for the Preakness once a year, and can deploy police all over the place and clean up the straightaway so the good white folk can come in and gamble and have rave parties and things of this nature, and build the fences high so we can't see what's going on. But if you have a regular crime, a regular assault, something in the neighborhood, you couldn't find a police officer to save your life. The deployment is very slow. So that's a problem when you should be deployable for everybody. And I know the ranks are small and getting smaller, and the attendance of the population is dwindling down. The mayor, in his pursuit of PR, has no touch on reality. They're saying that there's basically, what do you call those things, where census data is inaccurate, and that we're gaining more people. We're gaining more illegal aliens. We're getting more folk who are not undocumented because he doesn't want to follow the instructions of his boss, the federal government. But, well, before I go and get myself in further trouble, we have a caller. All righty. God bless you. And who do I have the pleasure of speaking with?
Tawanda Jones.
Dr. Jones, Warrior Queen. God bless you. How you feel?
I'm great.
How you doing? All right. You probably saved some people.
Sorry, I'm so late. My Yeah, I'm just leaving the crab feast and my phone was about to die, so sorry I'm late calling that.
We will dock you several severance pays, but it's going to be okay. That's all right.
Okay.
Let the world know who is Tawanda Jones, the Warrior Queen.
So I'm the sister of Tyrone West. My brother Tyrone West was brutally executed, killed by 11 to 15 Baltimore State police officers, including one Morgan State officer on July the 18th, 2013. 316 weeks accountability of the whole officers accountable, not for all those sisters around the world that are experiencing police brutality. Yep. So.
They, I'm still trying to figure out what does a Morgan State University police officer have to do with that.
Yeah, that one. Well, I think my daughter in National Care.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God. Hello. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Well,
I'm sorry, Steve.
Okay.
Yeah,
we're trying to figure out what.
Basically been. Yeah, no. So basically, we're just a whole police officers accountable for accountability. You know, not just in my brother's case, but in all the victims of police brutality case around the world. Yeah. Just advocate, let them know that that's not acceptable.
Understandable. You know, thanks to the digital age of having cell phones and things of this nature, can you imagine the type of brutality that has occurred in the 20s and the 30s and the 40s? It was probably unparalleled. So many folks who, black men who died at the hands of the police.
Absolutely. I can only imagine, and this ain't something that just started. It's just something that we're able to be able to see a lot more because of the fact, like you said, with the social media and things of that nature.
I'm, you know, I had I think you were part of that years ago. We had a meeting with a neighborhood community organization, which I started, trying to deal with the uprisings which were there, and a white gentleman came in and said, well, the history of police is about slave traders in terms of getting the slaves back. That's where this idea came from, and they're still maintaining that you don't exist, you're not human, you have no value. A gentleman in New York who was choked out for a pack of cigarettes in broad daylight.
Right.
What was his name?
Eric Gardner. You're talking about Eric
Gardner. Yeah. Yep. What kind of really super cop chokes out a man who's just trying to make a living, who's no danger to anyone, who's got his hands up, is not resisting, and what kind of coward? That's what I'm looking at.
But so the thing is, and I hate the way the media speaks. The media will have you be the Gardner was out there selling loose cigarettes when that wasn't even the case. Let's be crystal clear. Even though if that was the case, that does not justify an execution. But nevertheless, what happened that day, Eric Gardner was actually in the midst of breaking up a fight. He was breaking up two young ladies from fighting. He was actually trying to be like a hero type of thing. From fighting each other, and in terms the officer who was known for harassing him, the one that ultimately took his life, decided to execute him on that day. And that's why in the video you will see Eric Gardner says, and the first video they ever aired was the one that depicted the fact that it was not in he was selling cigarettes. The guy that first started videoing, he said, this brother just got finished breaking up a fight, and that's the thanks he gets. And it went on to show what was happening. So I just wanted to clear that up.
And most of the times before video is submitted to the public, it's edited by the police anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
These videos, cameras should actually be given over. The film should be given over to an independent review board, which is not made up of the mayoral appointees, which are normally ex-cops also.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. So, have you ever had a situation where the medical examiner has ever given you your family any viable indication of what happened with your brother?
No, in fact, the medical examiners lied. They're in cahoots with the Baltimore City Police Department. So they're all like in a big, like I said, circle and whatnot, because it depends on who murdered and what, but it depends on who murdered by who type of thing. Now, if my brother was murdered by someone such as myself, then they would have told the truth. But the fact that the police officers who murdered him, they try to water it down, and that's not just in my brother's case. So when you see these things, you see that it's happening, and it's happening. These are not isolated incidents at all. It's systemically happening around the world, and you will see that. Yeah, my brother, they lied and said that my brother had died from a heart attack and dehydration, basically, which was a lie. He was basically smothered to death, put in a prone position, face down, and murdered. The same way a lot of our brothers and sisters are murdered, and then they lie and say, oh, they try to water it down. Just like when Antoine Black was in a chokehold, and they lied and said the same thing. And then in another few cases that I looked up, they basically lied. So it's just really sad and sick at the same time.
Well, this may be shocking to those who listen to this around the world, but as an ex-police officer, I can pretty much say that when things happen, I recall a gentleman who we stopped in the, I think it was on Rancherstown Road, and so we were trying to talk to him. He wouldn't speak. So my partner, big white guy, said, "Hey, I think he grabbed his throat and tried to choke him because he had drugs in his mouth. He was trying to swallow. We tried to get him to spit it out, and so I remember that. That was part of the problem at the time. He was trying to choke him. I was trying to punch him to make sure that he didn't swallow the evidence. And when the sergeant got there, he came and started talking to us. I said, "What have you guys done?" We said, "Well, he had drugs in everywhere. What did y'all do?" And it's so and such. So we gathered around like a football huddle, staying in the middle of the street at nighttime. And this is the story that you will tell. And do you understand? So that's usually what's going on. It's that there is a story.
Thank you. But I just want to thank you, Pastor Steve, for all that you're doing and advocating. I know the ministry and your.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm not sure what happened to you, but I'll tell you that it is not well appreciated by other pastors in the city, because most pastors here in this city, the ones who are pretty much affluent and prominent, are at the feet of Baal. They worship and work at the auspices of the mayor and other city officials. And that's how they get their buildings and get their funding and their grants. So they're pretty silent. They don't have too much to say. You may have to call back in because I'm not sure what happened to you. You must have a bad connection. But just when it was getting spicy and good. And if you have an opinion, call in at 1-914-205-5353. If you have had bad experiences with the Baltimore City Police Department, you've had bad experiences with the governing body of the mayor and these other folks here. All righty. Let's see here. Uh-oh.
Hello?
All right. Yeah, okay. Have had more technical difficulties.
This is Tawanda. My phone, remember, I was trying to explain that my phone is on 1% and it's acting real crazy, so it keeps cutting off. I wanted to know if there's anything else you want me to touch bases on before my phone goes completely dead.
Give us is there a contact number, or do you have any other folks that are going to be calling in, Kareem James' mother? Or?
So I gave out the message. I put it on my Facebook page, so people will be definitely calling in, hopefully, and also and I will be sharing this week with you, Pastor Steve, the petition for the human right thing that we're fighting for. Where we're charging the United States. We're taking 1 million signatures to the UN, charging the United States with genocide. So I'll be sharing that as well. And if anybody want to reach out to me, feel free. You can reach me at Justice for Tyrone West on Facebook. My email address is Miss Tawanda, that's MISSTAWANDA, number 17 at yahoo.com, or my Facebook page is Tawanda Jones. And thank you so much, Pastor Steve, and some other folks will be definitely trying to call in soon.
Well, it's always a pleasure. You are always welcome to call in here, and thanks for allowing an old out-of-shape pastor to hang with y'all on the corner.
Well, yeah. Well, thank you so much, Pastor Steve. Really, God bless you. Thank you so much for everything. Have a great day.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. All right. All righty. And there we have it. We have to the world one of our leading activists here in this city. That's great, Miss Tawanda Jones, warrior queen par excellence. We have various warriors for justice here, and I don't know about the activists in your town, your neck of the woods, but we have some of the finest activists going anywhere, and they're some of the bravest, some of the fiercest. And when it comes to homelessness, we have Christina Flowers, who has made it her life mission to challenge and to advocate for the homeless who are in the city of Baltimore. She doesn't care who she fights and care who she goes up against. She's gone up against the various mayors, and she's gone up against various members of city council. And we have no problem in hanging out at City Hall to demand, when we're not allowed to come in, to demand that someone go in there and talk about homeless issues, which is very prevalent. Our mayors here have actually evicted the homeless, and have been a part of police brutality because police respond to the homeless shelters and homeless sites quite often more than most, and they're usually not very kind to the homeless. Yeah, and so we need to talk about that, and so that's part of the Warriors for Justice crew. And if it's housing and real estate issues and political gainsaying and savvy, and if the government is trying to get over on the citizens of Baltimore, we have another warrior for justice, and that is Professor Rhonda Wimbush, who has no problem in taking the mayor and the city council and anyone else to task. And we'll go into the office of the Attorney General and file petitions. Have no problem in calling out people who don't have our interests here in Baltimore, such as one Rudy Chow, a derelict DPW director who is so incompetent. Probably my 5-year-old granddaughter could do a better job, and doesn't know when things are going to be fixed, doesn't know when the project will be ended. We have more potholes, more sinkholes here than we've ever had in our lives, more poisonous pipes and lead in the water, thanks to this appointee by Stephanie Rawlings-Blake. Another goofball mayor. I don't know. Someone actually that was a part of West Wednesdays brought up an interesting perspective, and that was that we need to elect officials from the community, that are community city council. Yeah, don't have a silver spoon in their mouth and are not politically connected to the machine, that can work on behalf of the public, the true public, represented by someone who is just like you. Not someone who's from the Ivory Hills of Harvard or Yale, someone who's been poor, ate some pork and beans, okay? Someone who had to Wash off the dirty spoon. Yeah, someone, when you pour, P-O-O-R, and you've been P-O, couldn't afford the O-R. Someone who ate cake for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Not someone who went Knob Hill, not someone living on the ashes of great things. Someone who can identify with the regular folk. That's the kind of person that should be mayor, the kind of person that should be city council president. That's the kind of person that has not got their hand in the till, not collecting white envelopes behind dark corners after hours. And we may have found one who is probably for the 4th Councilmatic District, and she was on the corner hanging out with those who wanted to pursue justice and also those who may look like thugs and who have got criminal background issues, but who have been delivered and called by God to speak for the truth. Folks that other folks don't want to be bothered with. But now we have a candidate for the 4th District, and I was the pleasure of standing beside her on 33rd and Greenmount Avenue in the hood. Her name is Angie Winder. Yeah, I said Angie Winder had no problem in holding up a sign about the death of a loved one, a murder victim. Had no problem standing there waiting to speak. It says a warrior for change. So why not? Why not go to www.angiewinder.com and see what she's all about. It says here that she's strong on communities, quality education, something we need to have here, public safety. Because I'm talking to a pastor today, and they were saying that, if you can go out of your house here in Baltimore and come back in the same day, you've done something miraculous because we're getting killed, plucked off by the day. Now, somewhere on this corner, an activist said they didn't believe that these murders are arbitrary, that it's not some happenstance, that it is actually to collect the harvested organs of our black young males. Because Johns Hopkins is a research institution, and we're surrounded by Johns Hopkins, Mercy, Sinai, St. Agnes, and various other medical institutions here as a medical town that wants to research and harvest body organs so that we can be exterminated, like corn and crops. And so other European folk can live longer. Ooh, my goodness. And somebody ought to call in at 1-914-205-5353. We've touched on that here with a scientist who said that body harvesting of organs against black people was a reality. And I don't know who can look into it, what legislature can look into it. We know no pastors can look into it, but because they're too scared. But can anyone look into that and figure out maybe this is in your town, is the same thing going on? Because this directive to get rid of black folk out of the city, regentrification by any means necessary, is all-out war. So we have a message that we're not going to sit down and be plucked off and be used for the harvesting of other folks' cultures. No, we're not going to do that, and we're going to fight. We're going to fight by any means necessary. And sort of like that movie, The Fugitive. Every hill, every hen house, outhouse. Yeah, we're going to fight. And we're going to fight. Good fight of faith. Some may fight with weapons. I don't know. I can't control that. But we're going to fight with the Word of God. We're going to fight with unity. We're going to fight with direction. We're going to fight with speaking up and speaking out. No man, Jack Young, can stop us from talking about what you're not doing. Nobody can stop us from speaking out against and organizing to block you from getting reelected because you shouldn't have had the job in the first place. So if you've got a weak mayor, you've got a mayor with a yellow stripe down the back, you've got a mayor that can't put two collegiate words together, then it's time for him to go, time for her to go. It's time to get a leader that the people can understand, that really a leader that God has designated for this appointed time, for such a time as this. Can't we find, good God Almighty, a leader, a Christian leader? Can't we get Christian leaders who can stand up and actually speak up for the poor, for the wounded, for the homeless? Can't we find somebody? God, I'm asking you to send somebody in every state. Send somebody. Send your representative. Send your delegate that you have divinely appointed. Now release them so that they can come out and speak up for our people, for we have been treaded down like corn. And so when the wicked, even the enemy, shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of God shall raise up a standard against it. And so now we call it for what it is. God, stand up and show yourself strong and mighty, that the evil cannot win. They cannot possibly ever win. Yeah, because God is on the throne. Thank you. Be encouraged that the battle is not over. Matter of fact, rejoice now. Shout now, for the battle is yours. The battle is the Lord's. And so we're going to be all right. And listen, this has been Elevation Radio 1, and we have no problem in speaking up the truth, talking to power, and letting you know that there's only one power that matters. That's God. God alone. He is the only ultimate power. If you don't like it, there's nothing you can do about it. Well, until next week, this is your host, Pastor Steve, the Music Man Turner. And keep your head up. Keep your head up. People, nation, keep your head up.